actually life prepares you for everything that's put in your path. Everything you walk through, we all have different skill sets. We all have strengths that we bring to the table. People like to say, well, you're just more comfortable talking in front of people because you were an actress. I'm like, not when I was never me on stage. I was always someone else on stage. That's a different thing,
Hey there, Mama. Welcome to the Marvelous Moms Club podcast. I'm Kirsten Tyrell, and I am the host of this awesome podcast where I get to sit down with moms from all over the world from various walks of life to share their stories of inspiration, knowledge, and all kinds of good stuff to remind you what a truly marvelous mom you are. So sit back and relax, or plug your headphones in and keep doing whatever you're doing, and enjoy today's episode of the Marvelous Moms Club. Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the podcast. Today I'm chatting with another fellow author of Success Through Failing. This is Wendy Cunningham. You guys are going to get used to hearing the name Wendy over the next few weeks because we've got a few of them in the book. And I'm really excited to share with you her story and a little bit about what she does. I love her perspective and some of the things she's accomplished. And also on top of her business life, she is a mommy. And we were just discussing she has kids that are not my kids' ages, but she's like me 2 years ago. So I'm the future. Anyway, welcome to the podcast.
And you're alive.
I am alive. I totally am. Thank you for being here, and thank you for being willing to chat with us a little bit about your story and your successes and your failures and all of the stuff in between.
My pleasure. I'm excited.
Yeah. So tell us, because I don't know if people know how old my kids are. So tell everybody about your kids and how old they are, how many of them you have.
I call it elbows deep in the kid game right now because I have a just turned 5, just turned 3, and just shy of 1 year old. So I'm actually hitting the point right now where I would be like looking at the next child, and there is not a next child, at least not coming from my body. So it's this weird transition of like, I think I'm done.
Yeah.
Now we just have to keep them alive from here on out. But my girl is first. I have a daughter and 2 sons.
Nice. So you're opposite of me. I had 2 sons and then a daughter.
Oh, I thought I'd have 2 girls and then a boy. So there you go.
So it's kind of nice though when you have at least one of each gender, and you really can kind of be like, well, we could try. And my husband always jokes with me. He's like, somebody has to be last. You can't, like, there will always be a reason to keep going. Somebody doesn't want to be the baby, or we need another girl, or we need another boy.
So true.
I'm like, that's true. And I think we are done too, but there's sometimes, it's like you said, maybe from my body we're done. But I talk to so many women who do foster parenting and adoption that I'm like, I don't feel like my heart is closed off. Like, I have so much more room to love, but I don't necessarily have much more room to like want to go through pregnancy anymore. I'm such
I had a surgery before I was ever pregnant that was like a massive abdominal surgery. So there was a question as to whether or not I'd be able to conceive. But once I did get pregnant, and it was a complete non-issue with the whole getting pregnant game, thank the Lord. But when I did get pregnant, I knew that I wouldn't be able to deliver naturally. I knew it was going to be a C-section, all of them. So after 3 C-sections, I just, for my own health issues, my body is just not really game for all the kiddos. So I did get my tubes tied, but similarly to you, it wasn't a matter of, feeling like for sure our family's complete, but just knowing that there's other avenues to parent kind of helped me make that decision. But I definitely thought my last was going to be a girl, like 100%. And when he came out a boy, like right there on the operating table, I was like, oh, like you said, someone's got to be last. Like, okay, I guess I'm still done.
Yeah. Well, at least you got the boy, right? So obviously it was a surprise. You didn't know what you were having. Well,
I didn't know all 3 of the times, but.
So that says a lot about your personality. You're clearly a more patient person than I am. So that's good to know. I really think it takes a certain type of patience to be able to do that, because I can barely handle 9 months of growing a baby, let alone not at least having one little thing to break it up halfway through.
I hear ya.
That's so funny. So as far as business goes, tell me your story. Kind of tell everybody, first of all, what you do and the company that you work with, and a little bit of your journey.
Sure. So I'm an executive national vice president and independent consultant with a company called Arbonne International. We represent health and wellness products. And I've been with the company for 7.5 years. And I was introduced by way of my bridesmaid at the time. And I know that it was now a complete divine scenario, because if it were anyone else, I would have blown her off, because I don't do those things or go to those parties or,
Yeah.
it was completely not on my radar. But isn't that always the way? You just never quite see the different choices or paths that'll be laid in front of you. But it was, basically she asked, where are you going to be in 5 years if you keep doing what you're doing? And what a powerful question that was, because I was sitting in a position where I had pursued theater performance from a very, very young age all the way into the professional world in my young 20s. And I had just kind of transitioned out of that because A, can't make money in the theater.
Right.
And B, I knew if I were going to make money in that profession, I'd really have to give up the desire to be a mom, at least a mom in the way that I wanted to be a mom,
Yeah.
So I was kind of walking through this transition and feeling very lost, and, not in a million years did I think network marketing was going to be the saving grace for our family. But the answer to the question, where are you going to be in 5 years, was not where I want to be, not in a good financial position, not in a good time position. Like, I'm just going to be spinning my wheels and feeling a little broke and a little tired. So, okay, if you're telling me that if I do this, I won't maybe be in that position in 5 years. And the statistics of, that I was shared, with at the beginning, was that it would take 3 to 5 years to reach the top of the company. And so it just became a no-brainer that, okay, 5 years is going to go by, whether I go down this crazy road or stay on the road I'm on. And I know where I'm going to be on the road I'm on. And if the potential over here is that I could be somewhere really great, I'm going to go that way.
Yeah.
And it was really that simple. I didn't have, I didn't know what the heck I was doing. I had no skills coming to the table as far as, being a networker, or I had a lot of fear and hesitations and anxiety, and really was struggling with depression at that point in my life. Just a lot of stuff that would, make me feel like I wasn't going to make much of it, but just had to give it a go. So It's been a complete blessing.
Wow. That's so cool. I love the whole concept of network marketing, because it really does have that power. And, the network marketing business that I've kind of been a part of when I've done doTERRA, it's like, even if you have a 10-year plan and you want to rank advance once a year, I mean, what other job do you know that in 10 years you would guarantee to be making $1 million a year? It was like, when you put it in that perspective, it's like, wow, 10 years, like you said, 5 years is going to fly by. That's a really slow plan. 10-year plan, that's like for the slowest of the slow. That's snail pace. But still,
and there's a statistic about network marketing that, over 95% of people do reach the top of whatever company they choose in 10 years. So that's a great, slow plan, but 95% is a really great.
Yeah.
I'll bank on that.
Yeah, seriously. And it's so nice too, don't you feel like, because nowadays, like, network marketing doesn't have quite as bad of a rap as it used to. It's really considered such a more logical and smart way to make an income than it used to be. It used to just be like, oh, salespeople, blah, like, they're going to try and recruit me. It's so much different now, I feel like, than, I don't know, what it used to be. And it's really so much more quality, and there's the understanding of it is just so much more. Maybe it feels like that to me because I'm more aware of it, but
there's a generation shift happening right now. My mom's generation was very much programmed to, go to school and get a job and, do your 40 years. Like, that was the whole mentality. There wasn't much thinking outside of the box. And of course, I don't mean to group everyone in that, but, I think I know from my experience in being a Gen Yer myself, Gen Y and the millennial generations, we're absolutely looking to look outside the box. We're looking at, our parents and looking at, okay, so, my mom walked through the foreclosure crash and lost her home and, got divorced later in life and, ended up losing a lot of her retirement in the crash, in the economy crash. And, I'm looking at that going, that doesn't look like a very secure, quote unquote, option. Yeah. I need to look for something that I had more control over. And that was a big piece for me was you can't fire me if I'm my own boss, you know.
Yes, yes.
I can certainly quit, and, you know, I can certainly not do the work and not make it a success. That's always, of course, the risk that you run. But it just felt like, man, I could bank on myself. But I do think that we are looking for just, you know, we're more open to non-conventional, you know, ways to build an income now. You know, the internet age is here. Social media is huge. Everybody's plugged in through virtual, you know, means. It's just, we're so much more connected now. I think it's more intuitive than it was before.
Yeah, I think you're totally right, and you've totally nailed it on the head. I was listening to a podcast today, and I have no idea what podcast it was. My mom sent it to me on Facebook, and it was talking about like how, you know, the myth has always been like money doesn't buy happiness. But it was saying like, no, they've done studies, and actually people who have money are a lot happier, you know, because you take away stressors, you take away the big thing like that people fight about in their marriage or that people stress about their whole life is money. So if you take that stress out of the equation, and they said before, you know, like, yes, things maybe don't make you happier, material possessions, but experiences do. And if you can't, I mean, I just really feel like this is where my family's headed. This is where so many families that I talk to on the podcast and off the podcast are headed, wanting their kids to have experiences and wanting to teach through like travel and going to the places instead of just the book. And I feel like in our generation, when I was a kid, that was like for way rich people, and that's just, you didn't hear about that.
Absolutely.
And now that's just so not, it is more possible for everybody than ever before. And there's really no excuse not to make a whole bunch of money online because everybody's doing it, and you might as well be one of them. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
It's crazy. And network marketing is the most smart when it comes to like residual income and working your butt off for a few years and then really just enjoying it for a long, long time. So, yeah. I
know it was put very simply to me recently that, you know, specifically, and, you know, it depends on the company and the product, of course. I think that there's definitely products that lend themselves more to this than others. But on the whole, the majority of these products are being purchased, you know, and people get really hung up on being a salesperson. And that was certainly one of my hesitations. But the product's already being purchased. You know, lucky for me, everyone showers, you know, more or less, hopefully regularly.
Right.
People wash their hair. They use soap, deodorant, toothpaste, lotion, you know, eye cream. I mean, it's things that people are already buying. So I don't have to sell it. I just have to educate people about why our brand is different or what it stands for, or, you know. So I think it's an easier, it's more redirecting spending to an online experience, like you said, which people are already so familiar with now, shopping online or, you know, doing research online. It's all very familiar to them. And, you know, gosh, I totally, it was an easy sell for me with the products. I mean, of course, I love the ingredient philosophy of Arbonne, but I'm like, you know, I'm going to shower, so I might as well shower with these products than, you know, I'm already using. Sounds like a no-brainer. I will totally do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's an easy, it's not really about sales at all. It's just helping people learn about your brand.
Yeah, that's so true. And I think it's funny too, though, going backwards, not to totally change the subject, but going backwards, and you said when you started this, you were like, I have nothing, like I brought no skills to the table, but don't you even feel like saying that that's not true? Because you did. Like you've developed skills you probably didn't even know you had that have made you really good at what you do. So
it's so true.
You can't say that.
It's so funny. And I actually just did a keynote on this exact concept, that actually life prepares you for everything that's put in your path. Everything you walk through, we all have different skill sets. We all have strengths that we bring to the table. You know, people like to say, well, you're just more comfortable talking in front of people because you were an actress. I'm like, not when I was never me on stage. I was always someone else on stage. Yeah. That's a different thing, you know.
That's true.
But of course that helped me in one way, whereas someone else might have come to the business with a marketing degree or a business degree, which would totally serve them in a different way. So absolutely, you're totally right. People bring to the table what life has already prepped them for, and you're already ready. You're ready. Like you walk into this, you know, whatever is next, whatever your next, you know, endeavor is, you walk up to it ready. Life has already prepared you.
Yeah, I love that so much. That's so, so true. So you are a contributor for the book, obviously. That's why I know you, which is super exciting. I'm really excited to read your chapter. I'm dying to read everybody's chapters
because
at this point,
wait.
I haven't read anybody's, so it's going to be
Me
really
neither.
fun. So without giving away all of the content of your chapter, which you worked really hard to condense to not very many words, not enough words to share all of your stories, right?
Of course.
What is one of your failures that you want to share with everybody today? Like one that is meaningful to you, or it can be one of them in the chapter or out of it.
Gosh. Oh, it's
I'm
so
putting
funny.
you on the spot. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I love it. There's 1,000, and I kind of go with, as we all do in the chapters, like a specific part of my life and a specific, I don't know, transitional period. But gosh, just today I yelled at my husband, which is failure number one, and number two, it was about feeling like, we're not engaging with our kids enough. We're both home. I got out of my full-time gig earlier in my Arbonne journey. And about a year and a half ago, my husband came out of his career to be home and partner with me in our business. And so we're both home. And my oldest just turned 5. So we've kind of started homeschooling kindergarten. Like you'd think that's easy enough. Oh my word, it is not. I'm like, oh gosh, we are in over our heads. But, just feeling like I walked into the playroom because I'm running a business from home and my husband now is starting a business in addition to partnering with me. And I walked into the playroom and my son, my 3-year-old, had a bag of chocolate chips and he was just like, had chocolate all over his face. And in that instant, you're crushed as a parent. I'm like, we are both home. Like, we are both here. How are we missing? Like, he has a freaking bag of chocolate chips. Like,
yeah, we're totally failing right now.
Yes, the parenting game, man, that is a trip because every day is like the biggest failure and the biggest success all in one. You're just like, you got to give yourself grace. But that was definitely, it's funny you said that because I yelled at my husband, we are failing.
Right this minute, we are failing.
Right now, this is a failure. We're terrible parents. And then he left to go to an appointment. I text him, I'm really sorry. Just feeling like overwhelmed by, And of course, we just took, like you said, the exact reason that, you just nailed it for me. I want to take my kids places and have experiences and travel and see the world. It was such a part of shaping me when I was in college, just traveling abroad.
Yeah.
So of course, just like 3 days ago, we got back from a trip to the Bahamas. And of course they had just experienced, the hurricane. So
oh no.
I love giving my kids as much as they're going to grab onto at this age. I'm not sure, but hopefully it's just kind of in their roots, just the perspective of the life that we lead and where it's different other places, and you need to be aware of that. It's important. It's a responsibility we have to know that and to, have that burden. So that was one piece, but also, we had an amazing time and we were at Atlantis, which is like so much sea life. They learned so much about fish and dolphins and manta rays and all this crazy stuff. And of course, 3 days later, I'm a failing parent. It's like, come on, you know what I mean? It's like, he's got chocolate chips, like give myself some grace, but oh man, that is a battle all the time. I feel like I'm not doing it right, but
if it makes you feel any better, and I know sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't, to hear other people say that I'm in your shoes too, but it was such a similar day over here. It was like fighting about, we used to fight, we don't ever fight, and so when I say fight, it's like little arguments or little tiffs or moments where we're frustrated, but before it was kind of like this frustration brought on by the anxiety of not having money, and now it's like, not that we're swimming in it, but now we have all the success happening and all this business that we have to stay on top of. And so we're finding this new balancing act. We're trying to systematize stuff. And I feel like, and I just started homeschooling a week ago. And I'm what was I thinking? I told my husband today, I was like, all of a sudden I feel really, really busy and I don't know why. And he was like, well, our business is really taking off. And like, you've had a lot of social things that you've had to commit to. And those social things are part of business. It's not just all for fun.
Of course.
There's always a purpose to everything. And then I was like, and I'm homeschooling now. So I literally am never by myself. And in the evenings I'm working. So I'm literally just nonstop. So I feel you in the failure department. I feel like with my kids, they were sword fighting today with little like, I don't even know how to describe them. Those little things you build with sticks. I don't know. Connector things. And they slam my daughter's hand in the door. And it was just like, we're failing. We're sitting here trying to talk business and our kids are playing and we should be letting them scream and not have put them in their rooms. Yeah. Anyway, so that was a very long-winded reply to let you know you're not alone in that.
I hear you.
The failures you feel the failures so much harder than you feel the successes, I feel like, you know?
That's so true. So true.
Those winning moments seem to go away real quick, and the failures last for a long time, and they just guilt you and bring you down. So
they're heavy.
I really like what you typed to me in the questionnaire that I sent you too, that was talking about balance versus rhythm. That was so intriguing to me, and something I feel like I've understood but not been able to articulate. When people are like, how do you do it all? It's like, well, I don't know. I jokingly say, I don't do it well, or it's all just kind of crazy. But really, it is like a rhythm. It's not that we're balanced in that I spend exactly 2 hours a day with my kids and exactly 2 hours working. It never is the same. All the days are different. So explain your perspective on that, because I really love it.
I wish I could claim this as an original thought, and I more wish that I could remember who the heck shared this with me that kind of changed my perspective to give them credit. But I can't. But yes, this idea of balance always, I hear it all the time, especially with people that I'm mentoring in my business, that, I just feel so out of balance and I'm trying to find the balance. And I'm like, there's none. Like you spend your whole life trying to find the balance. But tell me about your life before you took on this additional challenge. You were working full time, likely, and not, giving the leftovers to your kids. That's not really balance either. Or vice versa. There's a lot of parents who are just consumed by their kids and they don't have a lot for their spouse or for friendships, or, that's not balance either. So really, in any scenario, we tend to be heavy in one direction or another. And the key, I think, is just finding peace in the rhythm. And what that looks like to me is, every time you start something new, or, like you said, when success picks up or your kids get into a different stage or different phases or sports or whatever it might be, it's something new and you feel overwhelmed. And that to me contributes to this idea of feeling out of balance, because you're just overwhelmed. And the key is you haven't found your rhythm, because I know people that are like so much more busy than me. They are just to the roof with activities, and they're doing it all and they're smiling the whole time and they don't seem overwhelmed at all. And I have to realize they've been in their rhythm for longer. They've got it down. It's just their day. It's just how they go through their day. And so they don't feel that weight. Whereas when you're stepping into something new or transitioning or whatever it is, there's this feeling of being overwhelmed because you don't know what you're doing yet. You haven't figured out where you're supposed to have the kids at what time. And it just feels out of balance, but really it's just, you haven't found the rhythm, and you will. Yeah. And I always just encourage people, you'll get there. You just got to get your rhythm. And once you know how your day is going to look, you don't feel out of balance anymore. You feel like this is the day. This is how the day flows, Feel
the beat of the rhythm of the night. That's what keeps going in my head. I just had to get it out.
Fast rhythm, that's for sure.
Yeah, very fast rhythm. I love that. I really do. And even if it wasn't your original idea, I'm really grateful to you for sharing it. So it's totally fine that you don't know who to attribute that to, because it's something that just needs to keep fluctuating through. And now people can say they heard it here. And
you don't even have to claim me. Just pay it forward.
There you go. So I think when we were talking a little bit too about like what you're trying to achieve in your business right now, I loved your answer to that as well, that you're trying to empower people to step into their greatness. And I can almost like feel that through your words as reading them. Like, I think anytime you have success or you have accomplishments or you just understand your potential, you want to like yank that from people. You just want to be like, do you understand what you're capable of?
Totally.
And that's really why I started my first podcast, the Marvelous Moms Club podcast, was because I wanted to inspire that in women and mothers to remember how amazing they are and how much they're capable of doing. So I love how you said that. Be bold, be brave. I think that's so perfectly said. I'm sorry just to keep quoting your words.
No, I love it.
Instead of letting you speak them, but they really were so powerful.
Awesome. Yeah, I think that fear holds us back from absolutely everything that would make us great. And there's no way around fear. You just have to walk through it. And so many people, I literally watch them like just stay behind it, and it's like you said, I just want to yank them through it, but I can't do it for them. And I know that the journey through that is that's what makes you great. Like you have to weather that storm of fighting whatever obstacle it is for you. to get to that place of feeling truly successful. And I did a little video on our page for the book today about that it's not, success isn't something that, there's like a, uniform definition that applies to each person. And once you hit XYZ income and, you've got your kids dressed on this time of day, now you are successful. Like, it doesn't exist. There's not a uniform definition. So success is what you know it when you've got it, like, when you've reached it, because it's just for you.
It's
and
a feeling,
it is,
don't you think?
Absolutely. And it is for you. The best form of success is just what you get to celebrate in your own accomplishments. And, a lot of times people mistake success for what you get to publicly display,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll admit, I've got to humble myself in those moments too, because you get caught up in that sometimes, especially when you do have the means to, whatever, live in a big house and blah, 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 really just remembering that that's not what success is. Success mm-hmm. is what you've overcome. That's your success story. And that's what's going to inspire people to do what you've done.
Yeah.
And man, another misconception with network marketing, I swear I have a point, I'm going to bring it back around here, but is that people, even my own sister recently told me, like, I'm just not passionate about product. I'm not sure I could do what you do. And I'm like, it's not about that. It's not about feeling passionate about a product. It is, yes, that's part of it.
Yeah.
But it is about using a vehicle that's given to you to get to the place where you get to live your purpose. Mm-hmm. And, I'll tell you, as a medical assistant or even as an actress, where I felt really, I loved being an actress and it filled me. I don't think that was the purpose I was created to be on this planet for, know. And I think so frequently we'll never find the vehicle or whatever's going to launch us into that purpose, that true purpose, because of fear. Mm-hmm. And man, that's what my goal is in my business now. I feel like I've reached so many personal goals, financially or just title wise in my business, all the stupid stuff that doesn't matter. And it has allowed me a platform to really be a difference maker, an inspirer, and really it's just, Wendy, the other Wendy Bunnell was talking about being authentic. And, you just have to get to a place where you're just like, I barely speak English very well. I make up words on the spot. That's who I am. Like that is, you don't have to be all perfect and get it all right and be, perfectly dressed and all that stuff. You just got to be who you are and walk your path. And that is going to be what inspires people to do that for themselves. So that's my goal. I'm long-winded today.
No, I love it. I have so many thoughts. I totally agree with you 100%. And I think it's so true. Like when going back to what you said about success, not necessarily being the things that you share outwardly, because it's crazy in our business that we've been working so hard and we've been really public and sharing that with people, just wanting them to see like it's possible for literally anybody to do this. And now we're at a really interesting point in our business where some of the things happening are not like necessarily top secret, but it's just being professional and not wanting to like tell everybody everything. And it's crazy how I still feel successful, whether I can share the details or share all of that or not. And it makes me realize the success is not how much I can show off to people. It's really not. I feel really uncomfortable with that. And yes, someday I want a house and I want to have a housekeeper and I want to have all the things, but
sure.
I will feel really weird like sharing that with the world. And
sure,
that's kind of a different little tangent, but it's true. Like success is not, it doesn't come from people's approval. It really comes from your own sense of accomplishment and knowing that you've worked hard for something. And regardless of whether anybody cares or not, you care. And it's super exciting. So
yeah.
I love that.
The small victories, man, that's what gets you the house and the housekeeper, your personal victories that no one sees, those little tiny mountaintop moments. But when you look at a mountain, there's only like this teeny tiny top. Like there's a big fat mountain and a teeny tiny mountaintop moment, so you got to be cheering yourself on and celebrating, your accomplishments along the way, or you're going to just see a giant mountain.
That's true. And you'll just keep climbing and climbing and wonder if you're ever going to get there.
Where's the top?
Where is it? I swear it's there. I saw it a minute ago. I love it. And I feel like you kind of summed it up, but if you had to, do you feel like it's just an all-encompassing thing? If I were to ask you what was your biggest success or what's been your greatest success since I asked you one of your failures, would it be kind of a little bit along the lines of what you were just saying, or how would you sum that up?
Oh gosh. I think that recently, I would say in the last maybe year of my business and just of my, life, it all kind of becomes the same thing, like just who you are is who you are. And it's part mom, part business owner, part wife, part all those things. But just coming to a place in the last year where I can really see, the positive influence not in my own life, because when you start a business, all you see is yourself, and I don't mean to say that negatively. We are creatures that we are self-centered by nature, and that's what keeps us alive and keeps us propelled, like, making ourselves better. So when I started this, the idea of where you're going to be 5 years from now was 100% financial goal, my bank account, my whatever, my bills, my debt, everything that I had. It was me, totally me focused, walking into this business, and to come to the point that I'm at now and see, oh my gosh, like the effect on my life, however dramatic it has been, is so minimized when you see the giant ripple effect that has come behind just trying to be, just being brave enough for long enough to get yourself over the hump to that rhythm, to where you feel like, okay, I think I can do this. I'm going to keep doing it. How many lives are affected by that? And not just in, like specifically in network marketing, not just in my success line, in the people that I've directly been able to speak with. But this book is a perfect example of this, because of my brave moment that led to my success, that led to me being able to change my life and gain a platform. Now I get to write a chapter about the most vulnerable part of my life, that there's a lot of things my mom doesn't even know, that will hopefully be the biggest ripple that I could, you'll never see the end of it. You'll never be able to know how many people are affected by that. To me, that is so cool. That is definitely the biggest success, and hopefully an example again of I'm not anyone special, I'm not any different than anyone else, just being brave enough for long enough, and how important it is that you do that, because it's not just about you and the effect you're going to have on your kids or your husband or your finances, but there's such a ripple effect. Anything you step out in and do, challenge yourself or face your fear, whatever, I really think that the enemy keeps us. He knows our greatest potential and just keeps us as small as we possibly will let ourselves be. And you've got to step out in faith, because the success is there for you. It will certainly come for you. But oh my gosh, the ripple effect is really the bigger piece. That is the coolest part. That is the part where you're like, okay, that's cool. It's not
that is successful
with you, right? That is like the coolest part.
Yeah. Oh, I love that so much. And it makes me even more excited that we're doing this project together, to see even a tiny bit of the ripple effect. It's so exciting to bring 25 women together, 26 now. We have a bonus, 26 women together to share their stories, and all those different people that we're going to be able to reach and find the right people who need what we have to share. And I know you are going to benefit so many amazing women, because I love your message and I can listen to you talk all day. I could seriously sit here and listen to you all day. I love it.
Thank you. I think the combined, it's such different stories too. Like from what I'm gathering, again, I haven't read anyone's chapter either, but
just different backgrounds, totally different.
What a collection.
Yeah, totally. Such a collection.
Oh my gosh. I can't wait to gain my own perspective from the other stories too.
I know. Agreed. I totally agree with you. Well, I love you so much, and I'm so glad that you came on here and chatted, and I will link to everything Wendy in the show notes so you guys can check her out and be really excited to read her chapter when the book comes out.
Cool.
Yay. So thank you again for being on here, and to the rest of you guys, we'll see you on the next episode. If you want to come and hear myself and some of the other authors from Success Through Failing speak and share even more of our stories, come to the summit on February 4th in Sandy, Utah. To get your ticket, go to summit.successthroughfailing.com. And if you're unable to attend in person, you can also live stream it. Head over there right now and get your ticket, and I will see you at the conference.